Show is brought to you by Dion Square, Septa, Pat Dion Beverage, Penn Community Bank, and BCWSA. Let's go live and get set for the Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. Now, here are your hosts, Phillies Director of Fun and Games John Brazer and former pitcher from the '93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Greene.
All right, welcome to Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. We're live from the concourse at the third base gate, I should say. When I say first base, geez, don't go the wrong way, Tommy. I am John Brazer, joined by my co-host Tommy Greene. Good to be back. I know you were with Bill Wendell last week.
We talked some serious baseball last week, man.
Yeah, you probably
baseball.
You probably get a little more serious than the goofiness that I bring to the table.
Oh, it's always goofy with you, Brazer. It's always good and fun.
Tommy, we got a lot to talk about. We got a very important series against the Marlins to talk about, where we won 3 of 4, and you can argue that we easily could have won 4 of 4. We had a tough game on Friday night versus the Royals.
Yep.
But we bounced back and have we'll call it the Trey Turner game, which we'll get into as well.
Yep.
And we're going to go around. There's a lot of things to talk about because there was a fight yesterday in baseball.
I've yet to pull that up. I can't wait to see it. Which is good.
It's the call.
Old time baseball. I sort of like that.
It's the call by the Cleveland Guardians. I don't know if it was radio or TV announcer when Jose Ramirez punched Tim Anderson, and there was some bad blood that was brewing for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And the guy said, "Down goes Anderson! Down goes Anderson!" So we'll talk about that. We got a lot.
There's a couple times I said, "Down goes Brazer."
Get that a lot. And we're gonna have Jason Firestone coming by with some food, which will make our guest today very happy.
Yes.
Because Tommy, not often do we get a chance to talk to a Hall of Famer.
The legend.
Right? How many Hall of Famers have we had on our show? Right? The one that's about to come on?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I don't think we've had a Hall of Famer on there. So
let's thought about it.
Let's bring on the Hall of Famer right now. Paul Hagen.
Let's get him all set up here.
There you go. Looks like he's good. Hey, Paul.
Hi, John.
How you doing?
Hey.
I'm doing well.
I know you don't. I obviously are I'm sure you're honored by the Hall of Fame title, but you also get not embarrassed, but you give that look to me like, come on, John.
Come on, John.
Right?
Yeah.
But that being said, you are a Hall of Fame, which is congratulations.
Well deserved.
And let's talk about that because you were just up there for Scott Rowland in Crime Dog.
Yep.
Yours was just a couple years ago, right?
Actually, 10 years ago now.
Oh, was it 10 years ago?
A couple.
Time flies.
Was it 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Paul. That seems like, honestly, it was like I'm thinking it was within 5 years.
When you get to be our age, John, time goes fast.
It does speed up, doesn't it?
I guess you're right. All right, Paul. So obviously a longtime writer. You used to see him on TV as well. Covered the Phillies for many, many years, Major League Baseball. Talk about when you were inducted to the Hall of Fame. What was that like when you got the call? And then what was it like when you had to make a speech and that whole experience?
First of all, just for clarification, I did not get inducted. I won an award, the Spink Award it was called at the time.
Yeah.
And I have a picture, but to me, the Hall of Famers are the guys in the plaque room, but where Scott Rowland now is, and in my opinion, deservedly so. No, it was. It's kind of like an out-of-body experience. I'm guessing it might be like for Tommy after the no-hitter. You just kind of can't take it all in at once.
I didn't have time to. We got on the plane to go to Pittsburgh.
To get on the plane,
yeah. But I enjoyed that.
But yeah, and I can appreciate. I know Scott and everybody else I've ever talked to. They enjoy the weekend much more once the speech is over.
Yeah.
Now, you obviously write for a living, right?
Yes.
That's why you're in the Hall of Fame. Writing the speech that you made, was that one of the harder writing projects you've had to make in your life? Because it's about you and it's about your life. I know you're very humble and you don't like the attention on you. You like it, elsewhere.
Yeah. It actually wasn't that hard because I'm so used to writing on deadline, and my deadline was like 3 months.
Right.
So
a 3-month deadline.
I kind of did an early draft, and then just let it sit. And as I would think of something, I'd go back and
add
or subtract or change it around. And and tried to make it more about how important I thought good beat writing was. So I tried to make it more about the importance of the beat writers and the relationship they have with the players and the team officials than about myself.
Well, I got a question for you. I wonder are you still recovering like we were from '93?
I think, Tommy, I'm just about over it now.
Because we had a lot of fun. I know that.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Now, how about the speech itself? Because obviously you're up there in the hallowed grounds. You've got all these Hall of Famers around you, people, your mentors, people in your business that are either in the Hall of Fame or up there to support you. What was that like, again, giving the speech itself?
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. I was very nervous.
Oh.
Obviously, I tripped over my tongue a couple times, which I regret.
That's awesome. Everybody does.
Yeah.
Basically.
But, it was also an opportunity. I think players and writers both, you really can't do it without the support of your family, because so much of the burden of parenting and raising the family, you kind of, I don't want to say ignore, but you can't tend to like you would if you were around.
Yeah.
Especially in baseball where it's such long hours.
Yeah, so I think what I was kind of focusing on was my wife and kids, and I think they were as happy about it as I was, and that made me feel good.
Well, because, bottom line, being a ball player and you being a writer, you were part of us. You travel with us all the time. I mean, they're our backbone. They're our, support, that gives us the ability to do that, if you ask me. It makes you comfortable, makes you be able to concentrate on your job like it's supposed to be, because, things are taken care of probably when you're not at home, and stuff like that.
All right, then just last weekend, or 2 weekends ago, you were up at Cooperstown. You covered Scott Rowland when he was here, right? I'm sure you've met Fred McGriff many times through your
Crime
years.
Dog's a good dude, man.
Crime
He's
Dog.
a good man.
Tell us that you told me that you thought Scott Rowland's speech was one of the best speeches you've heard.
Oh, I know I did.
It probably, I've been up there for maybe a dozen induction weekends now, and I think, first of all, Fred McGriff spoke first, and I thought, wow, that was a really good speech. He did a really nice job. And then Scott spoke, and I thought, wow, that was probably the best I've ever heard. He was all about his family.
Yes, he was.
Told a great anecdote about his dad. And the thing that really impressed me was they have a little press conference after the ceremony, and Scott said, I know I didn't mention a lot of the people who helped me along the way in my speech. Coaches, teachers, people like that. But I wanted the speech to be about family. But all those people he reached out to ahead of time and said, I want you to know how much I appreciate what you did for me to help me get here. I'm not going to be able to mention you in my speech because I only have a certain amount of time and I wanted to focus on the family. But I want to personally tell you how much I appreciate what you did for me.
That's class right there, man.
Very classy.
Well, let's talk about that, because I think Scott Rowland, obviously I knew Scott very well. Tommy, I think you got to know him a little bit.
I met him when he come in. I got a little story about that, but I'll go into that later.
Paul, you worked with him very closely. Tell the listening audience about your impression of Scott Rowland, because I think he is misrepresented here in Philadelphia, and for right reasons. I get it why he is. People that don't know him kind of get the wrong impression. But what is your impression of Scott?
I think Scott was a quiet leader. I think he took other players' concerns on himself. I think he was serious about wanting to win and wanting the Phillies to be a winning organization. And when he criticized the Phillies, he criticized them because he wanted to see a greater commitment to winning. And I think that really the fans were very much, he was speaking, I felt like, for the fans. He was saying the same thing I was hearing from the fans. But when he said, as a result of this, I am not going to resign here, for whatever reason, there was a backlash that I think has really been unfortunate.
Yeah.
I talked to you about this. I don't know if this is fair to make this analogy, but I think if he came up and was part of like a cog in the machine and not the superstar that we put on his shoulders, if he came up, let's say he was Jason Worth, and he was on he could basically do his job.
Just go out there and play.
But have Jimmy and Chase and Ryan and everyone kind of as one of many superstars. And he had Charlie Manuel as a manager. He's playing on the turf again. We had the payroll, all those things which he didn't have. He didn't have a payroll. He was a superstar as a rookie. He was kind of thrust a lot on his shoulders, and we weren't spending money. So, I mean, is it fair to say he would have been absolutely beloved if he was in a different circumstance?
I think he would have been beloved if he'd stayed. I understand why he didn't.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to, and I don't mean this as a criticism, but, Scott wanted things to be done in a certain right way. And when he left here, he had his issues with Tony La Russa. And then he went to Toronto and he had his issues there. So it really is nothing personal about Philadelphia, this idea.
I think a lot of it's Scott.
Scott is a pretty stubborn guy, and I say that in a very complimentary way.
Yeah.
Principled. That's exactly right.
Yes.
And I think he just wanted things to be done properly in his mind of what the proper way of doing things was.
All right, Paul.
Which made him great. Yeah, that's what made him tick a little bit.
Can you stick around for a little bit more so we can talk about the team? But also, I'm going to make a little trade with you. I know Jason Firestone's coming here. He's bringing a little food. So if I barter some food for some little analysis on the Phillies' current situation, can I keep you here?
Absolutely.
All right. Sounds good. All right, coming up on the show, we'll talk more with Hall of Famer Paul Hagen. You're listening to the Septa Baseball Insiders Show presented by BCWSA. We're live from the, actually not the Concourse, we're out of Pass and Stowe.
Yes,
so come on out and Pass and Stowe and see Paul Hagen, Tommy Greene, and myself.
This is Tommy Greene from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
I Septa Philly. I Septa Philly. I Septa Philly.
I ride the Broad Street line. Do you know how expensive parking is?
I do not have time to deal with traffic.
Because it's better for the environment.
I ride Septa all the time.
Monday through Friday, and whenever game day is.
I'm out the door and at my stop by 7:30.
I catch up on work when I ride.
I check Twitter, text my buddies.
I watch sports highlights or lowlights.
For real Philly fans, Septa is the hometown way to go. Ride with us at iseptaphilly.com.
From Philadelphia to the Lehigh Valley and everywhere in between. For 150 years, Penn Community Bank has been a part of your neighborhood. Helping businesses start, supporting families as they grow, and staying connected to the people and places that make this region special. It's who we are and where we're from. Penn Community Bank. Here we are, and here we grow.
I Septa Philly. I Septa Philly. I Septa Philly.
I ride the Broad Street line. Do you know how expensive parking is?
I do not have time to deal with traffic.
Because it's better for the environment.
I ride Septa all the time.
Monday through Friday, and whenever game day is.
I'm out the door and at my stop by 7:30.
I catch up on work when I ride.
I check Twitter, text my buddies.
I watch sports highlights or lowlights.
For real Philly fans, Septa is the hometown way to go. Ride with us at iseptaphilly.com.
We now return to the Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies Director of Fun and Games John Brazer and former pitcher from the 93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Greene.
All right, we are back to Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. We're live from Pass and Stowe at Citizens Bank Park. I'm John Brazer. Sitting in for Tommy Greene right now is our weekly guest, Jason Firestone from Aramark, who brings us a different food item every day, and it's going to be part of a barter arrangement. I don't know if you heard that, but Paul agreed to sit for another 10 minutes if I got him some of these items that are sitting right in front of us. So, Jason, what do we got?
All right, so right now we have a special going out at Bull's Barbecue. It's a barbecue chicken, a mac and cheese bowl. So we smoke that chicken and pull it in-house for 4 hours. And then at Coke Corner, right next to Bull's Barbecue out at Left Field Plaza, we are featuring arancinis right now. They're Italian rice balls. We have a spinach and mozzarella, and then a buffalo chicken.
Is this part of the Coca-Cola Corner
It is.
promotion? Okay.
Yeah, so they're Giovanni's Arancinis. They're featured at Turner, the Angelo's Pizza in Turnersville.
Okay. Well, we're going to give you some. You're going to get some advice from a Hall of Famer over here, and Tommy Greene will also be taking part in it. And can't thank you enough.
Good stuff.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks for having us.
All right. We'll bring Tommy Greene back here. And so while we got Paul, while Tommy's making his way over here, one of my favorite things that you started with one of our favorite players was Sammy Fest. Juan Samuel, for many years, was working for the Tigers, the Orioles, different teams. Luckily, when he was on a team that played on the East Coast in spring training, you would organize Sammy Fest. Describe to the listeners, what is Sammy Fest?
Yeah, I want to hear that.
Well, Juan Samuel was a very popular player, not just with the writers, but I think with the fans and the front office and people who worked for the Phillies. So after he left 1 year, I ran into him. I think he was with Toronto. He was still playing, but Dunedin, of course, is right next to Clearwater. So I was talking to him one day, and I said, hey, you should come to Frenchie's some night. We'll have a beer. We'll talk about old times. And he said, yeah, that'd be great. So he came over, and we sat there and chatted and caught up for a couple hours. And the next day, I mentioned to some people, hey, I saw Juan Samuel last night. And everybody I mentioned it to said the same thing. Oh, man, I wish I'd have known Sammy was there.
Yeah.
So then and he took it a little further because then
the next thing you know, it became a thing. We had T-shirts every year, and
awesome.
We had like 35, 40 people there most years, and it really went right until the time Sammy went to work for the Mets. So he was on the other coast and really couldn't do it.
Well,
but we probably did it for
you got to
8 or 10
hold that
years.
against him if he goes to the Mets.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Well, we do see Sammy down at Fantasy Camp.
I tell you what, there's no better smile than what he's got.
Yes.
It's
Yes,
unbelievable. What a nice man.
Yep.
What a good man.
We had during the COVID years, we had some celebrities singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and we would send I guess they would send us a video back. And Sammy's was one of my favorites. I don't know if you ever saw that, but Sammy did he's a good singer too. I guess if you're
I didn't know that.
Oh, he's multi-talented here.
I'm gonna have to get into that when I see him again.
I know. We're gonna have to make him do it live at some point. All right, Paul. Also, you told us off the air that you have a project that's in the works right now.
Yeah, I just finished the first draft of a book that I've submitted to an agent. I wrote a book about writing about baseball. So for all the people who came up to me over the years and said what a great job it was, this explains why it was and also why sometimes it wasn't.
Hey, people need to know that.
Yeah.
Well,
everything's not as glorious as it's they made out to be. You know?
Right, and Paul, you can attest. I mean, there's a lot of times where you guys, let's say you're doing a story on Bryce Harper, right? Well, it's not like you can just say, all right, Bryce Harper, let's meet at 1 o'clock on Tuesday to sit down.
Good
right?
luck.
You've got to do your own, now you're trying to work through the PR, but you're also waiting around. And even if something is somewhat set up, there's all things that happen with guys going to the trainer's room, guy gets this and that, right? And there's a lot of waiting around, a lot of...
Yeah. And honestly, it's changed a lot over the years. I mean, we were standing in the clubhouse this morning waiting for Brandon Marsh to come in, and he came in, and we all kind of looked at each other and said, well, are we allowed to go talk to him? Do we have to go through the PR department? Back in the day, Tommy, if you had twisted your knee or something, we would have walked up to you and said, hey, Tommy, what's going on?
That's the way it was.
That was just the way it was. Now it's a lot more formal than it used to be.
Oh, yeah, you have to go through the right channels, so to speak.
All right, you've been covering the team, obviously. Let's get your take on the Fighting Phils so far. Obviously, it's what I thought was amazing starting Friday night when this groundswell of crowd support for Trey Turner, coming off, he's been obviously having a struggle this season coming off the big contract. What did you think of of just the last 2 days in terms of Trey Turner and the fans?
I thought it was nice. The fact that it was not spontaneous, that it was contrived a little bit, took a little bit of the edge of it off for me, but what really sold it was after the home run last night. That was spontaneous. Yeah. That was genuine.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was just heartwarming.
Yes, it is. I mean, over the years, you've seen it time and time again. People struggle. We see it. It's baseball. We hate to see our big guy, like they were counting on, struggle like that. But, it's so gratifying to see those guys, like you see the maybe light go on a little bit. Hey, I'm figuring this out. I'm working hard. I'm figuring this out. It's starting to trend the other way. And I see some signs that, as a pitcher, I look at hitters. I say I can tell when hitters are scuffling a little bit. And, you can tell by their head moves more. They chase it, with their body. And that's what he does. And now he's starting to let things happen to him, come to him, rather than him going to it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm seeing a little bit. He's been working at it hard. You hate to see him struggle like that.
And I know this is an obvious thought, but I think we tend to look at these players and say, well, he makes $300 million, so.
It don't matter, man.
But nobody wants to stink at their job.
Right. No, nobody.
And nobody wants to stink at their job in front of 40,000 people night after night after night.
Who know your contract.
And then nobody wants to stink at their job in Philadelphia.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so
that's another beast.
Yeah. You mentioned Marsh. Was recent news.
Right.
He's on the 10-day DL. If anybody missed it, he ran into the wall. Looks like a pretty bad bruise, obviously.
That's bad.
So we brought up Weston Wilson, who actually had a great spring training, and his numbers in AAA right now are now against AAA, but still, his numbers, you can't look at it. He's first, second, third in a lot of categories, offensive categories.
That's a good thing. They're adding a little bit of Southern love into there.
So you're North Carolina guy.
High Point, North Carolina. Clemson, May.
But does this give Rojas more? Are we going to see more Rojas?
I think so. It'll obviously depend on how well he plays. But Rob Thompson made an interesting point, I thought. So they're essentially replacing a left-handed bat in Marsh with a right-handed bat in Wilson. And he said one of the reasons for that is they got two left-handers coming up in this national series.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing
probably going to get Gore.
Gore and
Corbin.
That's
Corbin.
another North Carolina boy. Matter of fact, he went to my high school.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see him start at least one of those games.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. A lot was made. Obviously, Michael Lorenzen had a great start a couple days ago. Now we have 6 guys that are obviously very good starters.
Yep.
We have a day off not until the 13th. Do you see a 6-man rotation through the 13th, and what happens after that? Do we go back to a 5-man rotation?
I think what's going to happen, well, first of all, the old baseball saying these things tend to take care of themselves.
Yeah. Right.
But if everything just stays the way it is, I know that they are concerned about the number of innings for Sanchez and Lorenzen.
Yeah.
They're both right at or over their career highs in innings pitched at this point. So you could skip them over, or you could piggyback them for a start or two. So I'm sure that circumstances, what happens between now and then, will dictate that to some extent. But I kind of like the piggyback idea myself.
Are you surprised? To me, that the back end of the bottom of the order, Bohm, Marsh, Stott. I mean, we all knew that they were obviously. You have 2 first-round draft picks and a guy that we got in a trade last year. They're almost carrying this team. The guys with the numbers in the back of their baseball cards.
The daycare.
We're waiting for them to kind of play to the back of their baseball cards. But the surprise has really been not surprise because I think we all knew that they were good players. But have you been impressed with those guys?
Very much so. I think you're right. What I like to call the other Big Five in Philadelphia hasn't really performed at the level we would expect. And Rob Thompson was asked today about, how badly are you going to miss Marsh because he's batting .284 and he's having a really good offensive season.
Yeah.
And he said, well, obviously it's a loss, but if the other guys do what they are supposed to do,
exactly.
we should be all right.
Yes, exactly.
Of course, we've been saying that all year, and we're coming up on the middle of August now.
You've seen it years and years. That's the way baseball is sometimes, and it's all about, it'd be great if everybody was hot 6 months out of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the way it works. It's about getting hot at the right time.
Yep.
It's about getting hot at the right time, everything's starting to click and go, and now sort of the time you really want to start trending that way and going that way. So they end up hopefully hitting on all cylinders in September, and they're maintaining and keep winning, that way they can separate themselves a little bit more.
Paul, you've been covering baseball for many, many, many years. It's interesting. There's a big debate. Actually, I was pulled into it on a talk radio show. Kyle Schwarber batting leadoff. The numbers, if you look at the numbers, first of all, if you go back and if this is 20 years ago and you're putting Kyle Schwarber as a leadoff hitter, people will be like, what's his manager doing? Has the manager been drinking?
And probably answer would have been yes back then.
But I guess, what is your take on if the team is winning when he's batting leadoff, but the numbers don't speak, to a successful leadoff hitter, right? And what is your take on? And I'm not saying one way or the other. Obviously, we have the second best record since June 3rd, I think, the Braves, and he's been in the leadoff position that time.
I mean, I think you have to ask the real question you have to ask yourself is, are you winning with him in the leadoff spot because he's in the leadoff spot?
And that's what I argue.
Or despite the fact that he's in the leadoff spot. Which is it?
Right.
I mean, I'm as you said, a long time, which is a very nice way of saying I'm old. I prefer the prototype leadoff hitter.
I do too, but
the guy who gets on base, steals second, maybe steals third.
Yeah.
That to me is what a leadoff guy should be. But baseball is different now.
Right.
Baseball is so much about home runs.
Yeah. And he does do that.
Yeah. So I think to me the real question is, he's not walking as much as I would like to see him walk a little more, get his on-base percentage up a little bit.
He's been starting to walk a little bit. With that last road trip, he walked a ton.
Yes, he did. I'd like to see him strike out a little less. But in the end, if he hits enough home runs, then
he's jumped up.
That's what the game is these days.
He jumped out. I mean, obviously he's jumped out in the first inning of numerous games this year, and we've been, one up right off the bat. You know, so and that's a huge thing when you start off a game like that. So, I mean, that's the argument. I think that's the big argument. He's got the capability of doing that.
And I'm wondering whether we have a future leadoff hitter already in the lineup once he learns to take more walks. But even then, he has great at bats. Is Stott. Stott could be an interesting leadoff hitter at some point down the road.
Well, I kind of envision coming into the season Stott and Turner as 1-2, 2-1. Because to me, that's the more traditional way to approach it.
I mean, both of them got 20 stolen bases at least. I mean, I'd like to see Turner obviously run more than he does, and he could be unbelievable. I mean, so.
All right, last question for you, Paul, and then hopefully you're going to have some of this food. Who is, of all the people you've covered through years?
Don't do this.
No, in a good way, in a positive way. Who is the most interesting in a fun way? Like, who is the guy you kind of almost look forward to going down there and getting a quote from the guy?
See, I hate that question because there's just so many.
There's so many.
I mean.
All right, how about on the current team? Who's the guy that
I don't know the guys on the current team. I will say this. In terms of what kind of quote you were going to get, Lenny, Dykstra, you never knew. Schill, you never knew.
Right.
I mean, those were guys. I mean, John Kruk back in the day.
Yeah.
Really, almost anybody on that 93 team.
You're right.
Because they were honest and.
Yeah. Be careful what you ask for.
Everything is much more programmed these days.
Right.
Yeah.
So the days when you could just kind of wander up to somebody's locker and engage them in a conversation and
that's what made you so good.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you,
That's what
Tommy.
made you so good. I enjoyed it.
I find Marsh very refreshing. Right. Marsh is kind of.
But again, I don't know him that well because I only cover home games and I don't really get to see him. So.
All right. Well, Paul, I really appreciate you coming on with us. Hopefully, you'll like the food that Jason Firestone brought. And again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. We will be back talking Phillies Week in baseball. You're listening to Baseball Insiders. We are live from Pass and Stowe.
You're listening to 1490 WBCB, Levittown, Fairless Hills, Trenton, and now heard as well on FM at 107.3 FM, W297CL, Levittown.
I Septa Philly. I Septa Philly. I Septa Philly.
I ride the Broad Street line. Do you know how expensive parking is?
I do not have time to deal with traffic.
Because it's better for the environment.
I ride Septa all the time.
Monday through Friday, and whenever game day is.
I'm out the door and at my stop by 7:30.
I catch up on work when I ride.
I check Twitter, text my buddies.
I watch sports highlights or lowlights.
For real Philly fans, Septa is the hometown way to go. Ride with us at iSeptaPhilly.com.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Greene here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, prove it.
From Philadelphia to the Lehigh Valley and everywhere in between. For 150 years, Penn Community Bank has been a part of your neighborhood. Helping businesses start, supporting families as they grow, and staying connected to the people and places that make this region special. It's who we are and where we're from. Penn Community Bank. Here we are, and here we grow.
I Septa Philly. I Septa Philly. I Septa Philly.
I ride the Broad Street line. Do you know how expensive parking is?
I do not have time to deal with traffic.
Because it's better for the environment.
I ride Septa all the time.
Monday through Friday, and whenever game day is.
I'm out the door and at my stop by 7:30.
I catch up on work when I ride.
I check Twitter, text my buddies.
I watch sports highlights or lowlights.
For real Philly fans, Septa is the hometown way to go. Ride with us at iSeptaPhilly.com.
We now return to the Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies Director of Fun and Games John Brazer and former pitcher from the '93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Greene.
All right, we are back to Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. We are live from Pass and Stowe at Citizens Bank Park. Fans are coming in. Tommy, big game against the Royals today. We'll get to the lineup in a little bit. The good news, Bobby Witt Jr. is not in the starting lineup. Man.
That's a good thing because he's hot, man.
And I tell you what, I was just saying to somebody that if I'm starting a team, right, if you can redraft right now and you're doing it for the future, not just, who's the best player now, but for the future, obviously Ohtani is going to be one, right? But if I'm looking at the future and you want some guy who's going to be an absolute stud for many, many years and you can build your team around, Bobby Witt Jr., man, I mean, I know he plays Kansas City, and it probably gets obscured a little bit because they're not on national TV a lot. Play out in the Midwest. For us, it's American League. But, man, give me a first chance of seeing this guy.
What kind of athlete is that dude, man?
Larry Boa was raving about him yesterday.
Awesome.
To Rex Hudler. So, by the way, Rex Hudler is here, former Philly.
I haven't seen Rex
Year 97.
ever.
What a great personality. Love that guy. He only played for us a year and a half, I think, and he was willing to put on.
I played against him when he was with the Cardinals.
He was willing to put on a Phillies jersey and walk around photo day yesterday, which was, by the way, the crowd we had for photo day, Coca-Cola photo day was unbelievable.
Everybody get pictures with Brazer?
There were. I got a lady named Dominique gave me a big shout out and yelled. Rex Hudler's like, "Way to go, Brazer." He's like, they know you. He's a friend of mine. All right, so Tommy, I was gone last week because I had a family reunion.
And we missed you.
But I was with you last Friday, and we won't spend too much time, but we played Oakmont, which was a bucket list
item.
You played very well. I was in.
I had my fair share of freaking troubles, believe me.
Put it this way, and again, this is not a golf show, but I just got to say that I was in a sand trap 16 of the 18 holes.
And multiple sand traps on those holes.
Yes, I had some expressions. From one, I went from one sand trap, one bunker to another bunker. And
what'd you call? I can't remember. You had names for everything.
I did. This is very politically incorrect, but I probably shouldn't go there. Put it this way, I called it the name of a leader of Iraq that I probably bunker to bunker. Right? But then
everybody will get that. Yeah.
Second one was I hit 2 shots in the same bunker.
Yeah.
I call that an Eva Braun. So hopefully people will get that reference.
Yeah.
And then Mickey was in a sand trap 4 different times.
Yes, he was.
And I call that All in the Family because that's Archie Bunker,
Archie Bunker, All in the
Gloria
Family.
Bunker.
Yeah.
Even though Meathead's not a bunker, but he counts.
He counts.
And then I didn't think I could top. I didn't think anybody would top that. But sure enough, at some point I went in 5 bunkers, and I called that a Sound of Music because there was too many Von Trapps. right? I think I might have used a little expletives in that too.
Oh God!
But
yeah, you had me laughing. I know that.
What a great time!
No, it was a hot
time.
day, but that bucket list item we thoroughly enjoyed
bucket
that,
list
man.
item. So sorry.
Shout out to Pat.
Yeah,
Thank
Pat
you, Pat.
Rooney's the best. Golfed with him yesterday. So, and I went to see Willie Nelson last night after the game.
Oh man,
Willie Nelson's 90 years old. He's 2 years older than my mom. And I cannot picture my mom up on stage performing, and he sounded great. He sounded
that's
great.
Awesome.
Yeah,
he's doing what he loves.
He is doing what he loves.
That's exactly why he's able to do it.
Exactly right. All right, Tommy. Right? Great to have Paul Hagen on, but it is time. It is time now for the Smart Stat of the Week.
Yep.
Brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. That's 1-866-PAY-EASY. Stat of the day. Alec Boehm's last 30 games. He's batting .348, a .416 on-base percentage, a .500 slugging percentage, .916 OPS, which is on-base percentage plus slugging, 22 RBIs, 11 extra base hits. He is 7th in Major League Baseball in hits in that span, one behind Araz, who's batting .386.
Yeah.
He's batting .400 in his last 7 games. And that was your Phillies Smart Stat of the Week, once again brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for the smart choice in payroll services. Call them again at 1-866-PAY-EASY. And we talked with Paul about Boehm, Stott, and Marsh.
Yeah.
And how good have those guys been?
I tell you what, Phillies can't ask for any better from their young talent, what they're gotten, and the way they've stepped up and improved.
Yeah.
Boehm's made some strides and moving forward and doing what he's doing. Same thing with Stott. He did from last year to this year, making that step forward. Obviously with hitting and when they got Marsh and look what's happened with him, the steps that he has made. That's all you can ask for your young guys to do is to keep making steps forward.
Yeah.
Not digress it. It takes a team to win.
It does.
So we got to have those young guys doing some positive things, and they are. Hey, thank God we got them, doing, because there's some other guys that struggled, and they basically picked up the slack a little bit. That's how we've won what we've won.
And you're right. It takes it says it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It takes for the whole team, all the great teams. Your team '93.
Exactly.
There were so many different guys, the role players that played key moments. And maybe this gives an opportunity for Marsh. Maybe it gives an opportunity for Rojas to step in, play a little more.
Yeah, and the job he's done.
Yep.
From the time he's been a positive impact too.
That ball goes out there. He is so smooth. Just goes out there. I mean,
as soon as he goes out there, you feel like he's going to catch. I know it's going to be caught.
There's been comparisons to Andrew Jones, but I don't think it's that unfair because obviously defensively, because he just glides back there and just makes that casual.
Well, I mean, it makes you feel comfortable as a fan and as a pitcher. You look back, you just feel like it's going to be caught, and that's the same way Andrew made every pitcher feel like you said. There's anything hit out there is going to get caught.
He travels in a very effortless manner, much like Septa. So consider a career at Septa. Septa is hiring a variety of skilled trade positions, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, millwrights, and more. As a Septa employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org. Did you like that?
That was well done, Brazer.
Thanks, Tommy.
Right in there, pal.
And the shirt, I wore it up at the family reunion in the pickleball tournament, my Septa shirt. And got a lot of people were not from Philadelphia, so they didn't really understand what is Septa. And I explained, but they did. They all liked the shirt. All right, Tommy.
I like that shirt.
Let's talk about the week. We're going to go through it real quick.
I think we need to wear it next week, by the way.
You know what? I am going to wear it because you know what? It's a great. You need a T-shirt out here, especially
it's warm today.
We're on the underhang, but it is hot.
Yeah, I mean we're not getting the breeze. So.
All right, we're going to go through this real quick. Sunday was a brutal loss. Now I would have said it's the most brutal loss of the week. Might have even been just not a good game.
Yeah.
But it was beat by Wednesday's game. But Sunday, Phillies blew 2 leads.
Yes.
We won't go through it all, but just every time we'd go up, they would tie it up. We'd go up, they'd tie it back or get one back.
Yeah.
And then goes into extra innings. Again, we kept getting the lead.
Yep.
And we couldn't, whether it's we went at 4-2 in the 7th. I know they got and then they tied it back up in the 8th.
Yeah.
And then it was basically Palacios hit a walk-off home run in the 10th.
Yeah.
Sir Anthony gave up the home runs. Sanchez was pulled after, having a no-hitter through 5, and he only threw 73 pitches.
What was the reason? Did you hear the reason?
I don't. I think they're just going to.
I think he was a little wild. He had hit 3 guys.
Might be his pitch count too. That Paul had talked about that.
He's your 5th star. I mean, he's your starter out there. That's got. I mean, he's got. I didn't look him for. I said he's not going to go complete it.
Right.
But he's got to go. They got to let him go more than that. I think. You're
I
relying too much heavily on this bullpen. That some days they're going to need. I mean, you need some days down with those guys when you can give them. Well, it catches up with you sooner or later, man.
What this team does after a tough loss, it seems like they're very good at coming back and reestablishing things. So,
which is a
Taijuan
good
Walker.
thing.
Taijuan Walker pitched on Monday, and I got to tell you, I was walking behind him on the field yesterday.
He's a large human.
He is a big man. I mean, he's got to be 6'4".
He's every bit of
like
it.
240.
He's
probably
my
250,
size.
like a big man. Well, anyway, thankfully, Taijuan Walker shut down the Marlins in the beginning of a key series. Went 6 2/3 innings, 6 hits.
Yeah.
And then Strom, Hoffman, and Kimbrel shut him down. Walker became the first player in Major League's first pitcher with 12 wins.
So you can't ask for any much more than what he's done too.
Yeah.
He started out a little slow, but he's been consistent.
And Solar gave him a 2-run. We were down 2-0 early in first inning, but he settled down.
Yeah.
The only runs he gave up, and then the young guys, Bowman, Stott, came through. All right, Tuesday it was a veteran that came through, and it looked like. We won 3-1, right? But it wasn't until Nick Castellanos hit a tie-breaking 2-run home run off of David Robertson, our old relief pitcher. Now, it's interesting.
We made every hit counting in that game. Well, we didn't get many of them, but
we took Sanchez out the game before, right?
Yeah.
Well, they took out Sandy Alcantara, who basically
8 innings didn't give anything.
We've had success against him, but not that night. He was unhittable through 8.
Yeah. 4 hits. We got 4 hits off of him. That was it.
Yeah, he barely had over 100 pitches thrown. I'm thinking definitely he's coming out tonight.
Yeah.
They bring in Robertson. I get it. They just got him as a closer. Let's see. That's why we got him. So
thank you.
Put him in. And yes, thank you very much, because Castellanos hit a tie-breaking 2-run home run in the 9th, which was great. And then
it was awesome to see that. I mean, taking advantage. And it's amazing how that happens sometimes. You see over the years I play. We got to get the starter out of the game so they get in that rhythm and stuff, and it's hard to do anything. And as soon as if they struck out a lot of guys or thrown too many pitches, they get and the bullpen gives it up. It's unbelievable.
Well, the other guy who threw it off was the guy who ran on the field, because he ran on the field right before Robertson came on. And remember, there was a delay, and Robertson goes out there. So I don't know. You're a pitcher. I mean, I don't know if that threw off Robertson because he was ready to go to Schwarber, or whether he just obviously it must have had some effect because he didn't do very well. So thank you to that idiot who ran on the field. I normally don't condone.
I was going to say, was he dressed in red?
Well, I normally don't. Yeah, right. He might have been like 8. Maybe that was. Yeah, I'm certainly not condoning that.
We never condone that.
I hate when people do that.
Yeah.
But it worked out for us. All right. Then Wednesday was just the absolute. My wife woke up the next morning and said, "How'd the Phillies do?" I said, "Jill, you don't want to know.
You don't want to know
because it was the worst loss of the season." She said, "You said that Sunday." I said, "Well, this one topped Sunday because we blew 3 leads.
Yeah.
We had the game even on the last out, and it went right by Turner.
Yeah.
Bell hit a shot. Not an easy play, but it's a
it
play
wasn't a routine play, but it was a play that I think he would tell you he should have made.
Yeah, and we had so many plays where we're up 5-0 with Wheeler on the mound, and they just kept chipping away. And then next thing you know, we go in extra innings. We get to the 12th inning, and then we're playing with fire at that point. We were 5 for 20 with runners in scoring position.
We had runners everywhere. With chances to do things
everywhere.
And it's like I told you earlier with the week. Our record for the week from Sunday to Saturday, those 7 games should have been a lot better than it was.
Well, and just like I said, we always tended the ugliest games. We come back, and luckily we had a 12 o'clock game the next day, so we have only had a few hours to kind of just live with that bad loss. And Michael Lorenzen, get him in the trade deadline, shuts down the Marlins.
Great job.
Unbelievable job. 8 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 5 Ks. And the star was the veterans this time. It was Real Muto homered, singled.
Yep.
He missed his last 2 games with the blister. Obviously, he's feeling fine now. Harper had 2 hits, and Sir Anthony got his second save of the the season.
He's going to be a key guy in our cog. We got to have him.
Real Muto?
No, Sir Anthony.
Oh, Sir Anthony, yeah.
And that boy, we got to get him going consistently.
Yep.
Yeah,
and then Marsh also had a big two-run single off A.J. Puck, which is good.
We had a couple games this past week where we didn't necessarily knock the cover off the ball, but we made good use of the hits that we had.
Yep.
We tended to, the home runs that we hit weren't solos. They were a couple 2-run homers, a 3-run homer. They were men on, which is a positive thing.
All right, well, when we come back, we're going to talk about the ride that Trey Turner gave a couple balls yesterday. And speaking of rides, consider a career at Septa. Septa relies on and needs bus operators, train engineers, and conductors. As a Septa employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about the Trey Turner game yesterday. And we're going to get you set up for today's game, give you the lineup, get you all set. You're listening to the Septa Baseball Insider Show, live from Pass Stowe.
This is Tommy Greene from the 1993 National League.
I did it again.
And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill. It's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
I Septa Philly. I Septa Philly. I Septa Philly.
I ride the Broad Street line. Do you know how expensive parking is?
I do not have time to deal with traffic.
Because it's better for the environment.
I ride Septa all the time.
Monday through Friday, and whenever game day is.
I'm out the door and at my stop by 7:30.
I catch up on work when I ride.
I check Twitter, text my buddies.
I watch sports highlights or lowlights.
For real Philly fans, the Septa is the hometown way to go. Ride with us at iseptaphilly.com.
From Philadelphia to the Lehigh Valley and everywhere in between. For 150 years, Penn Community Bank has been a part of our neighborhood. Helping businesses start, supporting families as they grow, and staying connected to the people and places that make this region special. It's who we are and where we're from. Penn Community Bank. Here we are, and here we grow.
I Septa Philly. I Septa Philly. I Septa Philly.
I ride the Broad Street line. Do you know how expensive parking is?
I do not have time to deal with traffic.
Because it's better for the environment.
I ride Septa all the time.
Monday through Friday, and whenever game day is.
I'm out the door and at my stop by 7:30.
I catch up on work when I ride.
I check Twitter, text my buddies.
I watch sports highlights or lowlights.
For real Philly fans, the Septa is the hometown way to go. Ride with us at iseptaphilly.com.
We now return to the Septa Baseball Insider Show, presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies Director of Fun and Games, John Brazer, and former pitcher from the '93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Greene.
All right, we are back to the Septa Baseball Insider Show, presented by BCWSA. We are live from Pass Stowe at Citizens Bank Park. I'm John Brazer, joined by Tommy Greene. And Tommy, did you know that Septa operates a fully electrified multimodal rail system and has one of the largest green bus fleets in the nation? 2 reasons why Septa commuters have 1/3 the carbon footprint of those who travel by car. Visit iseptaphilly.com to plan your trip today. That is iseptaphilly.com. All right, Tommy. I won't even go through Friday night because lost an ugly one to Kansas City. And I tell you what, Kansas City came in on a 6-game winning streak.
They come in
and
hot.
They extended to 7 Friday night. And it was Bobby Witt. And I'm telling you, Bobby Witt, watch for this guy. This guy's going to be one of the all-time greats if he continues on and stays healthy.
Yep.
A lot of people rave about him.
His first 2 years in the big leagues have been very good ones, boy.
But last night, we're going to call it the Trey Turner game because, there was a big groundswell. We talked about it earlier with Paul Hagen that I know fans wanted to get behind Trey Turner. And on Friday night, they gave him an ovation on every at-bat. He came through with an RBI single at one of those. Well, last night he came through when we really needed him. So did Harper because things were starting to get a little ugly. We were down big time. It was 6-3, and they were still threatening with guys in scoring position. We just had a throwing error by Real Muto. Things are not looking good. And we got off to a good start. Bohm had the home run to go 2-0. But then Freddie Furman hits 2 home runs. Again, they're up with a 6-3. Sanchez, right?
Yeah.
It was Sanchez, right?
I'm thinking.
Hold on.
Yeah, Sanchez.
No, what am I talking about?
Sanchez pitched yesterday.
No, it was Nola's. What am I talking about? It was Nola.
You're thinking yesterday's game, weren't you?
No, it's not Nola. I'm sorry. It was Sanchez, right? I should have gone
Sanchez,
my initial instinct.
Yeah.
So Sanchez did give up 6 earned runs, so it wasn't the greatest start. 2 home runs.
That's the only time he struggled. Yeah.
Right. But just when it was looking ugly, 6-3, we answered back that bottom of the 5th with Harper hitting a 2-run home run. And then we break it wide open in the bottom of the 6th. Trey Turner hits a 3-run home run, and it's goosebump moment. Goosebumps.
Yeah.
Again, the fans were cheering him before he got up to bat, willing him, guys on first and second. Turner hits a home run. You could tell just the joy just in fans' eyes and the relief for joy in Trey Turner.
Yeah.
You know, Rojas gives him a hug at home plate. Crowd goes nuts. He does a standing ovation. Curtain call comes out. I mean, this could be, you know, I know Paul said, you know, it lost a little of its luster because it was orchestrated, a little contrived.
But still, it doesn't take the place it happens.
I don't
like
care, and I know fans might say, well, that's not Philly. Well, what? Come on. Philadelphia is
no, they support their players.
It's being great fans, but I know some fans are saying that's not Philly. We need to show tough love. I don't.
They have shown tough love.
We have.
But
So
now, I mean, you have to show because he's went about his business the right way.
He
You don't
has.
hear no excuses from him.
Nope.
He goes about it the right way. He's going out there busting his rear every day to try to get better, to try to get more consistent.
Totally agree.
And to do that. And yesterday it was sort of like it come all together for everybody. The fans were showing their love, and for that to happen, it couldn't ask for a better script.
And if that can propel him forward, so be it. Because you know what, it helped even in that game. Because in the 8th inning, he patted the lead with an RBI double.
Yes, exactly.
So
we need every bit and every run you can count.
Again, we talked about it. If some of the big guys can get going, you know, Bohm was 2 for 3, 3 runs scored, 2 RBIs, home run and a walk, not bad. But Harper was 3 for 4.
Yeah.
Real Muto was 2 for 3. Turner 2 for 4. 13 hits. We were 3 for 7 runners in scoring position. And then, you know what?
It was a pretty good day by the guys, you know. I mean,
and
we scored 9 runs. You can't ask for any better.
No, and then we get the lead, and then Strom to pitch a great job. Dominguez and Kimbrel shut it down.
Yeah, well, I mean, we picked each other up. You know, Sanchez struggled, but the offense picked him up, and our defense our defense stayed right there.
Yep.
You know, and our bullpen shut the door, and that's
all.
That's a team win.
That's a total team win. All right, Tommy, let's give you the lineup for today. A big rubber match against the Royals. We need to
needed
win.
game.
A needed, big-time needed win today. So here's the lineup for the Royals. Garcia batting first, shortstop. Melendez left field. Why don't I just give you the numbers so you have a feel? Yeah. Garcia's batting .281, 4 home runs. Melendez batting second left field. He's hitting .214, 8 home runs. They're all-stars. Salvador Perez, catcher, one of the best catchers in the game.
Yeah.
Batting .244, 17 home runs. Massey, who hit some home runs, massive home run the other day. Second base, .218, 9 home runs. Furman, who had 2 home runs yesterday, he's up to 8 home runs, hitting .308. Beatty played first base, .308, 0 home runs. Waters right field, .234, 6 home runs. Duffy third base, .272, 1 home run. Isbell center field, .227, 4 home runs.
Like you said, the big names out of there.
And Bobby Witt Jr. is out, which is good for us.
But he lurks.
On the mound for Kansas City is Zach Greinke. Been around the majors for a long time. He's got a
very good pitcher,
storied career. Could be a Hall of Famer, kind of borderline Hall of Famer. He's got the numbers, longevity. He is 1 for 11, 5.32 ERA. He's been getting hit this year, obviously, and had some tough. So
I think he's had some tough love a little bit. I mean, he's pitched well sometimes and didn't get nothing to show for it, and then he's given up some too.
Let's take advantage of this because on the upside is Taijuan Walker, 12-4 with a 3.99 ERA.
Yeah.
And here's the lineup for the Fighting Phils. Schwarber leading off. Alec Bohm playing first, batting second. Harper DHing, batting third. Castellanos in the cleanup spot, batting fourth. Stott hitting fifth. Trey Turner bumped up to sixth. Edmundo Sosa batting seventh, third base. Stubbs is in the catching today. And then, again, Marsh is out on the 10-day DL. You got Rojas batting ninth, hitting 300. Tommy.
Yes, he is. Hey, stay right there. Leave him alone. Let him play.
So, it'll be.
That's all you want. Catch that ball, boy.
Again,
catch it.
It is Schwarber, Bohm, Harper, Cassidy, Stott, Turner, Sosa, Stubbs, Rojas. All right, Tommy, let's go around baseball a little bit. There was a fight between Ramirez and Anderson. We talked about that.
Yeah, you got to show me that. I got to find that.
Well, supposedly Jose Ramirez slid into second base, and when he slid up, there was a little bad blood between Tim Anderson and I guess one of the rookie players who did something that Tim Anderson wasn't happy about. So Tim Anderson was mouthing off to him.
That don't shock me with him.
And then Ramirez slid through, and he kind of gave a gesture like, help me up. And Ramirez, or Tim Anderson didn't help him out. Not only just kind of gave him a bad look.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they came to blows at second base. The umpire kind of was letting him go. And then Ramirez popped him, like literally, and knocked him back and knocked him on the ground. So, so they'll definitely on their way to suspensions.
And there's going to be some the hand down on that's going to be a pretty good one, you know.
All right,
but the call on that was the best by what you said earlier.
Giancarlo Stanton is catching a lot of heat from Yankees fans.
Oh, I saw that.
He came around third base for a play at home, and he was jogging and got thrown out by a mile, and he said he was trying to save his hamstring because he's been going on the DL. Well, that wouldn't fly in Philadelphia.
No. They wouldn't like that. Yeah.
Some of the stats you want to hear: 4 Major League Baseball teams have scored 2 or fewer runs in 40 games. A's, Pirates, Mets, and Royals. Royals doesn't look like that against us.
No, they're on a hot streak. They're doing that just goes to show you. You can get hot. These guys are young, but they're got some great talent on that team. They're young and they're learning. You know, so when they put it together, they can cause some damage. And shock some people.
They can, and I tell you what, Bobby Witt Jr. is
one of them.
He's the first player in Major League Baseball history with at least 20 home runs and 30 stolen bases in his first 2 seasons.
Yes.
Acuna has 12, 25-plus home runs, 50-plus stolen base in Major League Baseball history, first since Hanley Ramirez since 2007, and he's reached it in the fewest games. Lorenzen, the guy picture we just picked up, no runs or 1 run allowed in 10 of 19 starts. He's got a 3.04 ERA since May 1. And Justin Verlander's back on Houston. And do you know he's the all-time leader for the Astros? And think about some of the pitchers that have pitched there.
I know.
Clemens and
Nolan.
He's number 1 in ERA, WHIP, hits for 9 innings, walks for 9 innings, ERA plus, win-loss percentage.
He had another great start yesterday. We got the loss. Yeah, but he give up 2 runs in 7 innings?
Yep. All right, Tommy, and that wraps up today's Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA live from Citizens Bank Park. Thanks to my co-host, Tommy Greene. Our on-site engineer, Gus Barber. Thanks, Gus. And back in the studio, Brooks St. Ives. Thanks to our guests today, Jason Firestone from Aramark and Hall of Famer Paul Hagen from Philly Voice. And thanks to you for listening. The Baseball Insider Show will be back next Sunday here at Pass and Stowe from 12:30 to 1:30 before the Phillies take on the Twins. It is Toyota Alumni Day. We'll have Tommy for about 2/3, maybe 3/4 of the show. And then I'll be talking with Chris Hermer the last part.